Yeah,
And
it will be interesting to see if Biden feels obligated to tip his hat to a Green New Deal or some minor version of that, right? Um, it seems like, I mean, Siberia was 95 degrees for like a week in a row or something, some like
Right,
40 or 50 degrees above normal. And,
right.
him needing to address that in some way, it seems like he ought to be able to, just make a statement that he has no intention of actually fulfilling. But
Well, he
uh,
will, like right before,
yeah,
in the debates or right before the election, he'll come out and say like, I'm supporting the Green New Deal now or whatever. He'll do whatever. I mean, that'll
yeah,
there's still time for that.
right,
He'll emerge from his lair and come out with some statements, some promises. But I kind of like
yeah.
they're just letting Trump self-destruct at this point. I mean, Trump just seems like he's floundering, and like he's doing this rally in South Dakota. It just didn't seem to make a lot of sense. Um, I mean, it might be personally reassuring for him, but it didn't seem like it's getting him any new converts.
Right, and related to all this, basically, I think the Democrats came out and did say that it will be a virtual convention. All these delegates that have already been screwed over and already been, the true progressives have been replaced anyway. But they want no chance of there being any visible protest of their policies or anything. So it's going to be completely virtual, completely controlled, backroom dealings to figure out who's the actual nominee if Biden falls apart. Uh,
Right.
well, and I think
they're dreamland. They're
Right.
dreamland.
and I
Exactly.
think
Yeah.
also it sheds light on the fact that during the debates we're going to see no talk of policy. Everything is just going to be ad hominem attacks. Most likely,
Yes.
it's all going to be about Russia and about China, and
Oh, they'll tip
there's
their
going to be
hats.
no. It's going to be nothing to the American people, and the only people that are going to tune in, they're just going to tune in because they think, what are these two old guys who can barely,
Yeah.
string two sentences together? Um, you know, what's this going to be like? It's just the shock value that people are going to check in for. Other than that, the people that were already apathetic, which is a good majority, especially of young people, uh, if they weren't already checked out, they're definitely going to check out by the time this happens, and then we're
Right.
just going to have somebody take over, or stay in power, and again they're going to go unchecked.
Yeah, unless are we talking about we're talking about both the debates and the convention, right? Kind of
Yeah.
there. Yeah, yeah. I think on the convention, I'm sure the Democrats will pull some move like have Oprah Winfrey speak about Black Lives Matter or something like that. They'll pull something like that will pull in some people, right? They'll get some famous people to talk about, and they will tip
They're
their
going to
hat to.
definitely harp on the identity politics. It's going
Yeah,
to be
yes, that's what I'm thinking. Is there'll be tons of that, and even though they have no plans to do any kind of UBI to help all the people that are about to get thrown out in
Right.
the street in a month or so,
So it really
whatever
doesn't. It doesn't
whatever their
matter.
identity is.
It doesn't matter really. I mean, it does matter who wins, but it also, in a sense, that in terms of things really fundamentally changing, I see more as it coming from a grassroots populist level, and this is what Caitlin Johnstone has been talking about, the change in consciousness taking place rather than through policy changes from the top. Because I don't see Biden all of a sudden pushing through real seminal climate change policies going beyond Green New Deal, or it's going to be some watered down version of that, and also he's going to address whatever the police reform, watered down police reform. So like, whether Trump or Biden wins at this point, I mean, it's kind of like they represent the old. Well, Biden even more so represents the old, uh,
old
status
guard.
quo,
Oh,
and and
sure.
and like if people, like things. If things get really bad, like the unrest gets bad, like you think it's bad now, but wait till like right now they're cutting the $600 a week supplement for unemployment. That's running out.
That's coming
Uh,
up soon. Yeah.
yeah, so people are going to get like all of a sudden it's going to get really nasty, and they're talking about that foreclosure tsunami. So that could happen, like we got 4 months now, 2 months down the road, 2 months before November, you could see things get really, really bad and explode in kind of like a lot of really bad unrest. And then where are things going to, how are things going to go from there? The election may seem almost like a, a backdrop to like the main action, which is going to be on the streets, could be on the streets. And I'm not like kind of, Schadenfreude, like, I don't want to see that happen, but I see that as potential because they're not the main established parties are not addressing the issue, the fundamental issues.
Yeah, the possible directions things could go from here with all the various moving pieces, COVID, and the protests and people being awakened to the fact, hopefully, that there's injustice. Hopefully they bring it. They recognize that it goes well beyond the police state. That the police state is just a fact, a part of our overall oligarchy that's keeping us in check. And even the Maxwell thing could play in. You could have like a major politician get named in a way that throws things completely off. I mean, who knows? I mean, there's so many different paths things could take from here.
So I wanted to bring up that I think it's kind of interesting how, from the Democrat side of it, the way that they went and passed the HEROES Act, it really does put it as though this is on Trump and the Republicans. That, so this is a good tactic for them when it comes to November to try to cover for Biden, to seem as though, look, you see, we're trying to do something for you, to give that olive branch to the people. But I think it's really interesting how on the right, how there really is no party loyalty to Trump. The Republicans really do not care. And it's very interesting because obviously I would think that they've been enjoying how much power they've had and they want to continue to have that power. But the fact that they have been sitting on this bill on the Senate side and that Mitch McConnell doesn't even, he doesn't even want to bring it up, this hurts Trump significantly. That's the one thing that, I mean, obviously, I always say, if he really wanted to help people, he could just sign an executive order. Giving money to the people, if that's really what he wanted, because that's what he says, right? Because recently he's been on a lot of what?
How could he just sign an executive order giving? Because I mean, does the Congress control the purse strings? That's what I always learned in junior high school.
Well, I mean, technically, yeah, of course, but I mean, also they're not supposed to be governing through executive order, but Obama made that kind of famous, and that's why he's been able to. Trump has been signing all these executive orders and he even said that if they didn't want with the border wall, that if they weren't going to pass the appropriations for the border wall, that he was just going to sign an executive order for it, right?
But now that's being challenged, and I'm just saying, like, you're talking about like hundreds of billions of dollars. I mean,
I understand that. I'm not questioning that. What I'm saying is that if he's gone on all these interviews lately and said that, that he wants to get more people out for the people, or more money out for the people, and that, he wants to give more money than what the Democrats wanted to give, that's what he keeps saying. And if that's the case, well then, you rule through executive order, so why not do that? But like I said, the fact that this is being held up by the Senate, and this doesn't reflect well on Trump. This is something that the voters are going to remember come November. If they, if you have, 30 million people get evicted from their homes, or, and you have all these people, on unemployment, because we're just thinking about this now. We have to think about the fact that now there's a second wave supposedly that's happening, right? And they're starting to shut down a bunch of states. They were reopening, and now they're slowing it down, or they're just closing up altogether, right? And so what's going to happen? You're going to have businesses that, again, they're going to have to shut down, and especially in states like Florida, where tourism is huge. That's where they make all their money, in a lot of parts of Florida. So this is really going to impact the people, and Florida is a key state for Trump. So I think these are all pieces that are coming together, and it's definitely that's why I have no
Right.
idea what's going to happen come November.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it certainly has been a never Trumper faction with the Republicans the whole time. That basically they don't want, whether you call Trump a populist or whatever. I mean, I kind of consider him to be one. They certainly don't like that lack of control. Somebody out there, and I really love the idea. I find a really interesting idea if he were to, do an executive order for a UBI for the duration of COVID. It would be interesting. It certainly would come up for like legal challenge, but does that really want to be where is that really where the Democrats want to be? Challenging, giving the people relief when they're about to get evicted, So
but is Trump
it might be a brilliant move, even if it's not completely like legal or whatever. Or wouldn't he?
It's just the optics of it. The fact that he's willing to do something for the people when others aren't.
I mean, let's just see if he has the street smarts to kind of figure it out, because right now he's out, at Mount Rushmore, and he's not like, rallying the American people. I mean, he's going to his core supporters, but I mean, why not? Yeah, I mean, he did allude to the fact that there might be a second check, right, coming to people, but it's like between that and defending the withdrawal from Afghanistan, I think he could get a lot of popular support. So why isn't he on his soapbox talking about this 24/7? I mean, even if the media is not going to like it and the Republicans aren't going to like it, because it's going to mean less money for Halliburton and Raytheon and everybody, but that's where his support, the support that he has, and the support that he used to win in 2016, that's what they want. I mean, forget about the white supremacists and them. That's part of his constituency, but by and large, it was these people who were like wanted to drain the swamp, right? Who wanted to to get rid of all the corruption and the money in politics, and that Trump is independent, a non-politician, independently wealthy. He's not going to be subject to that, supposedly, to those temptations. So it baffles me why Trump isn't. It seems like maybe he's going to spring back or something, but right now he's kind of in. He's in. The analog to Biden in his basement is Trump going to Mount Rushmore and kind of just with his core supporters.
Yeah, it's hard to say what his tactics are here. I mean, I don't know if he thinks he's going to, if he shows that he gets so many people at rallies or whatever again. Does he think he's going to shame Biden out of the basement? And that's ultimately what he needs, is Biden to get out there and talk unscripted. He needs Biden to get out there and start like yelling at voters and tell them to vote for Trump again. I mean,
yeah. Why isn't he attacking Biden and saying, "Hey, Joe, why don't you get out of your basement? Come and he could be doing that. He's not doing that.
Yes, yeah, I don't understand what his, but I do also question when they basically say that Biden, has this thing sewn up and he's ahead by 10% and all that. Some of the polls, and they say there's a lot of overpolling of Democrats and everything, but when you look at the enthusiasm and those polls, which a lot of them don't mention, the gap is huge. The people that will vote for Biden, they overwhelmingly are doing it because they feel they need to and they have no choice and they're not happy about it. And there is a segment that's still excited to vote for Trump. So I don't know why all the polling places are doing this thing and all the media is playing it up like it's like they're replaying 2016, which didn't work out well,
Right.
So I don't know what they're doing,
Well, there might be some kind of October surprise, number one, and then number two, like we said, like the unrest might be much worse by then too. So all bets are off pretty much. So just because the polls show this, whatever, Hillary was going to win with 95% probability, right? So I mean,
right, exactly, yeah, tough to say.